The Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. We're talking business and building a culture that's kick-ass. Where we make it happen, grab your seat, let's have a blast. At the Entrepreneurial Journey podcast.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. Today I have Lucy Eden with me, who is the founder of an amazing company. Lucy, tell us what your company is called and what you do.
Yeah, hi, thanks for having me, Rebecca. My company is called Be In Your Element, and we are a wellbeing events company that do just that. We create, curate experiences with people's well-being in mind, where they can be in their element, whatever that is for them, to bring calm, to invigorate, to connect. We just kind of create and hold those spaces for people to do that.
When I was looking through your website, I instantly felt calm.
Ah.
And I just thought, what a lovely thing that you're doing for people. And how amazing that you're able to offer that. How did you get into it?
Oh, thank you for those kind words. That's really lovely of you to say. So my background's events management. So I've been doing events management for 17 plus years now. And it's weird how it happened, actually, because in a time of turmoil, like with lockdown one, basically when we had COVID hit us for the first time, that's when it made, the whole world stop and pause and reflect, and myself included, because I was a freelance events manager at that time. So the events industry got hit very hard, and it certainly got hit harder to those individuals without the security of an employer. So I definitely had a sense of, I had that time to reflect, but also it was causing me quite a lot of anxiety and stress because I didn't know when I'd get, work again. And in that time, I basically found a bit of an outlet for me for my own mental health and well-being, which was a really silly and simple effect, was just macrame or macrame, which is a type of knotting, arts and crafts, textiles, that type of thing. And it was really simple, but when we had an hour to go out with our family for the exercise, if we take ourselves back to that time, me and my son, who was 2 at the time, we used to go to our nearby woods, and we'd be gone for that hour, and we'd pick up sticks and we'd make wands or swords. We'd kind of get into that really fantasy place. And then I'd come back and I'd have all these sticks, and I started to play around with them and do this macrame. And I know this is audio and not visual, but behind me I actually have it because it's a reminder of where this all started for me. And it is basically lovely bohemian vibes. You can kind of have it off of a stick, plant hangers and things back in the 70s, for anybody that might know what that then is. But I really just got into it because it gave me a sense of purpose. It automatically just relieved my stress and strain and gave me a bit of a sanctuary to go to and get into it, get creative, an area that I could control, because we was in a world at that time we couldn't control anything. So it's all started from there, and I basically got better at it because I was shocking at the beginning. Shocking, really bad. To this day, actually, my mother, God bless her, she's got one of them in her hallway, so pride of position, and the stick has actually snapped where I just didn't understand, the weight ratio that time when I was learning, and she's just gaffer taped it up and it's still there. God love her. So, we all come from humble beginnings, and that is a reminder to me, because I started doing it for myself, got better, then started to teach people. And I basically organically created what I called the Macrame Army. So I had over 1,000 followers quite quickly in lockdown that were following my journey. And I was teaching people, and I was giving them their sanctuary, giving them their sense of purpose. And when I went back to the events industry, because I was, so blessed to be back in work again, and very thankful for that, but I felt like I was missing something. And that journey happened for a reason for me, and I didn't want to let it go. So I then took a couple of years to really sit with that and build my tribe. And my tribe are my wellbeing warriors. So when I speak about the company Be In Your Element, and we create and we curate, I do that with a lovely tribe of professionals behind me. So we started with about 10, 20. Then I said hello to the world 2.5 years ago. And now we've got over 90. So
wow,
we've got quite an array of experiences for our clients to then, pick and choose what's suitable for them.
Oh, that's amazing. Right. There's so much content in there that I've got to delve deep into. The first piece is when I read about your Macrame Army, it did take me back to the 70s.
Yeah.
So my best friend's mum was a hippie, and she had the biggest macrame wall hanging you've ever seen in your life. And she made and baked her own beads, and she wove them into the macrame. I mean, that's how much of a
Wow.
hippie she was. And I remember spider plants, which I believe are back now in fashion,
Yeah.
but in the 70s hanging from macrame plant holders. And I know that it was back in fashion because my eldest daughter went, "Mom, look what I've made." I went, "Oh my God, that's straight out the 70s."
All comes back around. All comes back around.
It really does. Now, again, because we're talking to entrepreneurs, which platform was it that you got those 1,000 followers? Which platform were you
So that was
on?
Instagram. That was
Right.
Instagram. Yeah. I feel
Okay.
like that. And it was just so funny because I honestly, I didn't know how to do a reel. I didn't
Yeah.
know how to do, I was, it was quite funny. When I used to work on events, they used to call me Facebook mum
Right.
because I only knew how to navigate Facebook and all of those, they're not kids really. They were 18 plus, but I was in my 30s and I was like, all I know, guys, is Facebook. And they were like, if do this on Instagram, do that on Instagram. I've got no idea what you're doing. And again, in lockdown, I kind of navigated and I learned that. And it was really lovely to learn a new skill. And then to quickly just get the followers and all of that good stuff was amazing it's incredible now what we can share on the various platforms, isn't it? In that way of being from my house to your house and feeling connected when especially isolation was such a key part of what we went through with COVID.
Yeah. And do you still keep that army going?
I haven't been able to
Right.
keep the Macrame Army going, and
Mm.
that's been very difficult for me. And I actually only about 6 months ago took down my website
Right.
and stopped using because I feel like when you've got to give something your all, like being your
Mm.
element, I have to give it my all. And I didn't want to do two things mediocre. I wanted to do one thing bloody brilliantly. So
Yeah.
I kind of made that decision. So yeah, it's all been about being your element. And it's nice because I get to do macrame sessions for my clients. So
Brilliant.
it's obviously one of our offerings. So I've gone in and done that several times. And I'm a mindfulness and meditation teacher as well. So we offer things like a mindful macrame session so we can kind of,
Oh.
include the two. So I kind of get my kicks still that way.
Brilliant. Now, out of the wellness community that you're plugged into, what's the most unusual sort of skill session that you've come across that you've given to your clients so far?
Yeah, okay. So, well, I mean, one that's probably the most woo-woo, everyone uses that term.
Yeah.
But we've been speaking to a leading sports brand about this. We're one of their preferred suppliers, actually, which is brilliant. And
Yeah.
we've done beat breathing with them before, which was taking the breath work and doing it to the beat of the music, which was quite
Nice.
innovative and cool. But light language and working with energy is something that we're talking to them about doing and implementing. So that's probably the most woo-woo session that we've got.
Brilliant.
But then something else that we've implemented is like the beat breathing, and we've done things like with mindfulness and meditation, we kind of look at things where people are on their different journeys. So the likes of a small company that are trying to maybe integrate it into their company culture, to the likes, as I mentioned, like leading sports brands, they're completely at different levels of where their journey is. So we instigate things that are all a little bit out there, if you like. 'Cause I kind of pride
Okay.
myself in that because we want people to kind of sit up and think,
Yeah.
but also it's integrated with reminders to just basically get us to come back to what we know, because actually most of what we're teaching, and we are very much about holistic health, but most of what we are teaching, we're just reconnecting to what us humans already know.
Yeah.
We're just absolutely drowned out by the noise of life, and we just haven't got the skills to listen in. It's like, intuitively something,
Mm.
but how many times do we sit in our body to listen to our intuition, and we obviously go to the doctors and things like that when we feel unwell, but how often do we sit there and just listen to where we're feeling in our
Mm.
bodies? So it's that kind of, that might be a bit too much for some people, and if I was to
Mm.
sit here and just speak in that narrative and language, I might lose the attention. But like I say, we try and integrate that with what we're doing, because instinctively that's how we are as human beings. We've just
Yeah.
lost our way.
Yeah.
So we just try and level it up so it is a little bit magical with all of that, but it's done so in the right tone and narrative for our guests to really engage with that content.
Yeah, I'm all for the woo woo. So we are, myself and my brother who run the business, we've both had our full astrological charts done.
Yeah, we have an astrologist and numerologist that work for us, so we do all of that too. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great, isn't it? Fascinating.
absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
And my brother, he's just had his done, and he said, well, let's get the lady we use, a lovely lady called Gloria, to come together and bring those charts together, and then let's look at where we work best together and where we need to do our own thing and all the strengths and weaknesses and stuff.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, because I'm all for keeping your mind open and just going, well, look, let's experience it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we don't have to do it again.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you do tarot? I'm teaching myself
Yeah.
tarot at the moment.
Yeah, we do tarot. We've got an amazing tarot reader. Yeah, we do all of that. We do crystals, we do tarot. So
Amazing.
we've got like cacao, we do ceremonies and circles. We do shamanic drumming. Like,
Wow.
so yeah, we go exactly that. We can go completely down that road. A bit like you were saying about your childhood memories, hippie, if you like, you know.
Yeah.
We can go down there, or again we can do the more light touch, but it's all connected because it's all along the same vibrations of what we're trying to say. It's just we understand everybody's at different points of how we position that.
Yeah, you're right. They're all vehicles, aren't they? They're all vehicles, little mechanisms, little ways to get to that intuition, that grounding, that reconnecting with who you are and nature. And there are so many different ways of doing it. And I think, I don't know about you, but you, because you're running these events, you're experiencing them for yourself as well now, aren't you? Which is amazing. What kind of changes have you seen in yourself as you've been exposed to these new
Oh
things?
my goodness, my journey over the last couple of years has been profound.
Right.
I actually sit with you today on my birthday.
Oh, happy
It's a
birthday.
highlight
Thank
for
you
me
for
to oh,
doing
honestly, thank you for
thank
having
you.
me. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this on my birthday. Yes, let's do it." But I'm getting old. I'm 42, but I feel like just before I hit my 40s,
Mm,
I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but you definitely feel more comfortable in your skin. Like, as
yeah,
the older you get, you definitely get all of
yeah,
that.
you do.
But not only was I getting comfortable, I didn't want to get complacent. So I've just opened my eyes to my personal development, and just me growing is a real passion of mine as well. We're
Right.
never too old to be taught different things. And I feel also when you're younger, maybe you're quite impressionable and you don't see the value or the authenticity of your experiences in life because there's so many people with their own and their narrative. And you sometimes think, oh, I should be doing that. I should be doing that.
Mm,
But I don't feel like that anymore. I feel inspired by people around me.
yeah.
And I feel like the journey I've been on since this wellness, creating my tribe and things, I'm surrounded now by such beautiful souls that I
Mm,
can't not be the person and the journey that I'm going on. I can't ever go back to where, I mean, a prime example of this actually, and I'll never forget it, when I first started the company, there was quite a few people that wanted to help me with an energy exchange. There was nothing
okay.
else that they wanted to do. There was no money. There was just no hidden agenda. I struggled with that because
Right.
I'd been taught, nothing, you don't get nothing's for nothing sort of thing. You don't get any, you've got to work hard and all of that conditioning and that narrative. It's all good. It's all fine.
Mm,
It's just how,
mm,
that generation was. But I really struggled. Like, what's your angle? Like, where's this
mm.
coming from? And then, of course, they feel offended because it really is coming from a beautiful place. And I feel like I've just gone on a real lovely journey of being more human, like as we are built, and having the faith in the humans and the people around me. And
Mm.
it's just been such a wonderful, I feel like when you have that transition of yourself, whether that's opening your mind, opening your heart, just having some self-awareness, everything around you just changes organically because you're changing your environment, if you like, your thought process, your way of thinking, your feelings, and then organically you just open yourself up to that around you, which I
Y-
think is great.
you do, and you attract different sorts of people, don't you?
Yeah.
So let's take this into the business world because this is a genuine question. And we're business coaches and consultants. I train other business coaches and consultants. And one of the things I do is I look at a business as a human being, as an entity with its own needs, wants, and desires. And the people who work in and around that business, they all have to work together. So it's a holistic ecosystem, basically. When you get businesses in, do you notice that business shift and change? Obviously, you'll see it in the people, but what about the business itself? Do you observe anything there that happens once they've gone through this kind of experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different in terms of, again, everybody's journey when they come to us, because some people
Mhm.
might be coming to us and they're well on their way, and this is just an
Yeah.
extra enhancement and they want to try something new. But then
Okay.
other people are looking at us for guidance. So we are positioned to go into companies. We've done it for a company called RQA, where we facilitated every month RQA Your Health. So we had a speaker for every month for the 2,000 members.
Right.
And so that was a real shift, because that was a continued journey that we did for 12 months, of the year. But then we also go back and do things for like the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. We did something for the 800 attendees, which was really lovely, because
Mm.
everybody got to do some arts and crafts, and we designed a tree. It's almost like a tree of life, because the company had grown so quickly.
Wow.
We came up with the concept of something to represent that. And we had only a 4-hour window for a summer party, which would be, the barbecue, the games, and the drinks as well. And we just huddled ourselves under a tree, and we got everybody, we pre kind of done these leaves, and we got everyone to design their own leaf. And see, this is really simple, because we then had 800 leaves on this massive tree that then went back to their office as a reminder of the journey of where they've come, where they are now. And then people sat there for 10 minutes and done it. People sat there for an hour and got really into it. Some people did it, different, like a few things and really delicately. So I feel like it's more on the individual, a bit like how you look at the
Mm.
business. It's more how we see the individuals change in the time that we've got with them. That's really
Okay.
profound and amazing. But then I think as a business, once they see their team or that group of people come together and do that, whatever that may be, there is definitely a shift to understand, hey, this is worth doing. We are quite lucky. We get quite a lot of repeat business, which then
Good.
I think does speak volumes to understand the value. Because if I'm being honest, Rebecca, the hardest thing for us is proving the value of something like this.
Yeah.
Again, from being in the events industry, I know only too well budgets get cut for
Mm.
various reasons, and we're in a nice to have. We're almost in the entertainment budget, you know.
Yeah.
You have to have the venue, you have to have the food and beverage, you have to have the security, but then all of this is a bit like, right, well, we don't really, that can go, that can go, that can go. And my mission is to make it fundamentally,
Yeah.
part of the foundations of any good event, and any gathering for an organization as well. Really important to look after people's well-being at that time.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Did you know at TriCrest we've built a kick-ass culture coach and consultant program? So if you're a business coach or consultant and you're looking for something new, add to your toolbox, or even escape the 9 to 5, join us at our next event. Links in the information on the podcast. See you there. It's essential, and you're right, it's one of the first things that is cut, like learning and development budgets are cut, often coaching's cut, leadership development's cut. And like your product, actually that's the very time when you need this, because that cohesiveness within a business that is going through a hard time is the thing that will keep it going and let it emerge stronger when the good times come again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard to convince the finance director of
Yeah,
that.
because it's me and you. We're both very much, as you mentioned, with your business, your
Yeah,
strategy about it. It's a person. I mean, with us, we're
yeah,
very much led about feelings. The idea is you're in
yeah.
your element, and that's going to be different for everybody. But whatever you need in that time, you take. And there's a lovely quotation that I love from Maya Angelou. She's got loads of them, but my
Yeah.
favourite is, "People will forget, what you said. But they'll never forget how you made them feel if you've heard
Yeah,
it."
yeah.
Um, and I just think that that's so profound, because we can all close our eyes and probably take ourselves to a moment massive, like a wedding or
Mm,
pregnancy, having your baby. But, then try and close your eyes and think about those magical moments within your work and what
mm,
your company and your team have done for you. And that's where we come in. That's where we want to create those moments that not only give back in that time that we've got, but it gives back endlessly, because we pride ourselves in whatever the experience is. There's like takeaway tools,
yeah.
basically. So it's not just about ticking a box and just like, oh yeah, we've done something for our team for this summer, now we don't have to worry about it again for a year. The idea is we facilitate something that gives back, so those individuals can understand the importance of breath work maybe, and it helps them out in a situation where they're suffering from anxiety or stress or moving their body, and again the importance of that, and then they can just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I just need to do this with my body, like chair yoga we do and stuff like that. And the people that do it, they just think, oh my goodness, this is so simple, and it's really helped them out, when the majority of us in this office environment we're not built this way. Our body isn't built this way. And there's scary studies out there of, if we keep going the way we're going, we're actually going to reform our body shapes and things. So it's really quite, we just try to do things in a way that brings joy, fun, calm, whatever the kind of element needs to be. But also they take it away with them as an educational piece or an inspiring piece to join the gym or read a book about breath work. It just sets them up for themselves as an individual to want to do it, because I think that's the key thing here as well. You can't make people do things, but you can certainly try to inspire, invigorate, and give them some tools to help them want to do it for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Do you ever get one or two people who are just absolute hardened cynics?
Yes.
And they're kind of right.
all the time.
How do you work?
I've got a lovely story here, actually, if I've got time for it.
Yeah, sure.
We did work for the NHS.
Okay.
It was a really proud moment for me, because who wouldn't want to give all of that back to the NHS, who need it more than anyone. So we facilitated for 2 events for them where it was their management team.
Okay.
I'd come up with the concept of mindfulness and meditation after we do quite a good questionnaire with our clients to find out where they are, where they want to be, what's worked, what hasn't worked. We dig deep so that we get it right when we're answering the question or the stress strain. And with the NHS, it was mindfulness and meditation that come up as a winner that was going to tick the box for this kind of one.
Okay.
And when we had these male and females in the room, but predominantly males, and there was a couple that were quite cynical. In some ways, people come to things in a scientific way or in an educational way, and so when you're talking about these things that sometimes aren't tangible with the effects, there can be questions to it. And we held the room and we answered those questions, and we then invited people to experience it. So we asked them to close their eyes and to do it. And this gentleman had a is it a Garmin watch, I think they call them? It's one of those watches for sports people that want to know their heart rate, and it's the one for the runners and things, I believe. And so this gentleman, unbeknownst to us, had set it so that it was doing his heart rate. And when we did just 3 minutes of meditation. And when he came out of it, he shared with us, actually, which was lovely. And he said, I've been quite cynical this whole experience with you guys, but I actually recorded a massive change, a real drop in his heart rate. So wow. That was one of those, and he was management in the NHS, and he came up to us afterwards and said, I'm going to start implementing mindfulness and meditation in my weekly meetings Monday to set me and the team up, because they are frontline workers. And as much as, again, we try to protect ourselves, don't we, when you're going into battle, if you like, there certainly are, because they don't know what on earth is going to happen with them. And all of our office or gardener or whatever you're doing, you don't know what that day is going to bring, but what you can control is how you go about that day, and how you put your best foot forward, and how you react to the things that are going to come your way that won't necessarily be full of love and vibration. They'll be challenging, they'll be stressful. It's how can you give yourselves the tools to control all of that a little bit better and come away without harming yourself too much. So that was really funny, because when we went into the room, I was like, oh, tough crowd. But when we came away, it was really lovely that gentleman shared that with us, because we felt on cloud 9 after that, for sure.
Yeah. And don't you find they're then your biggest advocates, aren't they?
Yeah.
The ones that started off really cynical, and then they go, oh, actually it does work. And then they're raving fans, and it's great.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And to see, I mean, that was such a wonderful moment. And then there was another event that we did, which was really lovely, because you really saw it, not only felt it, you saw it, you heard it in their positioning, the way they held themselves, as we did samba drumming. So we've got a great team that teach you how to do samba. And there was a couple of gents in there that were rigid, not letting loose, not really getting into it. And then by the end, I mean, we were in Brazil, it was just really, and I think sometimes we can get in our own way.
Yeah, we can. Sometimes, all the time.
Well, yeah, all the time. Yeah, I'm tripping myself up all the time. So yeah, it's kind of nice when people just get out of their own way and just let it be.
Yeah, drums are really powerful. I had an amazing experience. Was it last year? Oh, I can't remember, last year or the year before, where there was a drum. It's a Swiss drum, and it looks like an upturned turtle shell put together. So it's convex, yeah. And the guy was playing it, and we were in a room and we were lying under just a plain white light, which had silhouettes on it. So the room was then put into darkness, just this plain white light with silhouettes. He played the drum, and you lay under the light with your eyes closed. And as he was playing the drum, you started getting a psychedelic experience. So do you remember those kaleidoscopes when you're little with all the colours?
Yeah.
You started seeing that, even though the only light in the room was white light with silhouettes on it. So it was the sound vibration interacting with your brainwaves that created this psychedelic experience. It was absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's incredible. We've actually got a warrior that does stuff like that. I
Right.
mean, sound baths, people probably are more au fait with that. Some might not have heard about it, but it's that same principle of vibrations because, you know, again, with the woo-woo context, but I know this sits safely with you because you get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're full of vibrations. We have a vibration. And the way that I say this to people who are a bit like, oh God, you've been a bit hippie. It's like, okay, you can walk into a room and you'll get a vibe off of somebody,
Yeah.
right? You will get a vibe of like we were saying, tough room, tough crowd, because you just
Yeah.
knew already you had a bit of a vibe of they were like, I'm not kind of sold into this just yet. We've all had that moment where you've got a vibe off of someone. So we all know that we have vibrations. That's what you're getting. You're getting that vibration off of them. And so we have all this vibration around us. And obviously with sounds, there's all this vibration. And so there's huge science and reports and everything about the, the do's and the don'ts with it, but you can actually get so much because with sound bath, just to kind of give more background on that and the frequencies, is sometimes it can actually get you quite emotional. It can bring
Right.
up maybe, if you've just been suppressing something down,
Yeah.
you just won't feel it coming. And this is the strength of the vibration. So many people we've had that, they've actually come away and some have been really chilled. I had a gentleman completely snoring in the back, which was hilarious because nobody's ever done that before because it's normally quite strong for people, an emotion of some kind, but his was really strong for just exhaustion, I think, bless him.
Bless him.
But then I've had people come out crying. I've had people come out just saying that was really uncomfortable. And I think that's because for those, potentially they didn't want to let go. But isn't it incredible, all of this amazing elements around us, and this is why I bring it back to the elements, because let's not forget all of those elements around us, the simple things of just being out in nature, understanding we're surrounded by vibrations and just connecting with ourselves on that, level.
Oh, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. Where are you taking the business? What's the vision for it, if there is one?
Yeah, I mean, God, I'm a dreamer. I'm a go-getter.
Okay.
I definitely have ambitions all the time, and I have learned since starting this company that the one thing that's really important, and I definitely recommend to any entrepreneurs kind of on the journey too, is to do regular check-ins with yourself.
Right.
Because I feel like sometimes you're on a journey and then you need to make sure that you're aligned with that journey. And it's a bit like, hang on a minute, but is this working? And do we want to change? And also, now what do I want?
Yeah.
So in answer to your question, my dream is always to just help as many people as humanly possible, and to build a community that we're helping people, as an organisation, as a movement. We give back to a children's charity as well. I'm really, really passionate about helping the younger generation as much as the older generation. So we're much about the prevention as much as the cure.
Great.
So that's definitely also for me. We're helping the children and we're going into schools and we support children's charities. But then with the event professionals, I've started to do something for 2024 where we're actually giving away free talks and we're actually giving away some more free insights into the event professions, because I feel like the event professional, like my fellow event managers, that type of thing in the events industry, they are often looking after the client and implementing that for them. But I'm really passionate about ensuring that those that are delivering the event also, you're asking them to do 17-hour days. You're not giving them a break. It has to be a continuation, and kind of what we was talking about with the knocking on the doors and getting the pushback when maybe the budget gets cut. I want it to be part of the DNA. So it is find a venue. It's make sure you've got some well-being to look after the people that are going to be in the venue, inside and out, the ones that are going to be walking through the door as an attendee, but the ones that are going to be behind the scenes making it work as well. And, bigger plans than that is I really would love to hold a venue. I'd love to have a wellbeing space where people could come. I'd love to do bigger retreats. We do retreats at the moment, but I'd love to make that more international. We've branched into Europe, which is great, but I want to do that on a bigger level. I feel like that's more of a people surrender a bit more to that, because obviously sometimes when we just do things that are half hour or an hour, it still has an impact, but it's definitely more impactful if we can grab people for an overnight stay and really kind of give them an experience for 2 days or something. So
Amazing.
Big dreams to make it a bigger, broader experience for all.
Oh, I look forward to seeing that, and no doubt we'll be using your services at some point as we grow, definitely. So I'm always looking for something different, because our community of coaches and consultants, whilst they're self-employed, I still want to give them something that enables them to recharge and regenerate, because coaching and consulting, as you very well know, is a very giving thing. And they need to fill their energy levels back up. So that's something I'll talk to you about afterwards. Right, now we've got this question, which I know you've checked because you did your homework. You listened to a few of the other podcasts, and I ask this question. So if your business had a character, or was a character or personality, how would you describe it, or who would it be?
And this is why this is funny, because full disclosure then, because you've obviously said that I did my homework, I said to you at the beginning, I was like, are you going to ask me that question? And you said yes. I was like, but I don't have an answer. I've been racking my brain. And as we've been talking, there was one that come to me, and I think this does feel like the right one to say. Avatar. Because I feel like, because we're the elements, and the thing is with this avatar, I'm going to give you some narrative where I've come from with it. It's a character that can almost be anything. Like, you obviously avatar yourself as well, don't you? And I feel like everybody does that, and they maybe make themselves look a bit better, or they wear that cool hat that they never actually want to wear. And so that character in that formation of the movie and down into the things that you kind of use on your phone and stuff, I feel like that's us. That's being your element, because we're where you want to be, if that's who you kind of put as your avatar. Like, I've done it. I've got a little witch's hat. I wouldn't go out and wear a witch's hat every day, but that's kind of like my inner me, my inner calling. Nice. And I feel like that's what we are to people, if I could explain it as a character. We're your inner knowing, we're your intuition. We kind of help you reconnect with yourself and connect with your team.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. You'll see my dog in the background. He's just gone to the door of my office. He's heard a dog outside. So yeah, I love that. And that's got a really nice flow to it and a softness to it, but also a structure. And that sounds very contradictory, but yeah, there is an entity, but it flows and adapts beautifully. And there's a calmness to that as well. Really
thank
nice.
you. Yeah, that's what I came to, because that blue, the calming. Like, if you think about, as soon as I said it, maybe that character came to everybody's head. But as I say, it's more about who your avatar is. It's everybody kind of thinks about themselves in the out of body experience for that, right? That's that character. If you were going to get animated, how would you do? But then don't stop there. Do whatever that is for that avatar, that animation. Don't think, oh, that's who I'd be if I was a cartoon, and that's what hat I would wear. Wear the hat, or wear those cool sneakers, whatever it is. But embrace who you truly are and what brings you joy. I guess that's where it all comes from for me.
Fabulous. What an amazing place to end. Thank you so much, Lucy. It's been an absolute pleasure and delight to interview you. And happy birthday.
Thanks so much. You're going to have some cake now.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Did you know at TriCrest we've built a kick-ass culture coach and consultant program? So if you're a business coach or consultant and you're looking for something new, add to your toolbox, or even escape the 9-to-5, join us at our next event. Links in the information on the podcast. See you there.
The Entrepreneurial Journey Podcast. We're talking business and building a culture that's kick-ass.